Good morning, YouTube. It is Wednesday, June 21st, 2023, 10:30 a.m., and I'm coming at you from Yankton, South Dakota. It's a small town, well, small city, I guess, about 1 hour south of Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I'm waiting to pick up a load to go to the Green Bay area with 3 stops. I have 1 stop in Green Bay and then 2 stops about 100 miles away in a small town called Merrill. I've ran this route before and it's not bad. I like it. I'll probably sleep at my customer tonight so I can get unloaded first thing in the morning in Green Bay and then hopefully get unloaded before noon in Merrill. But anyway, for those of you who don't know me, I've been driving truck for a couple of years, and but before that, I was a cop for 25 years. I retired as a cop, or retired from the police department, just because the pension was right. It was time just to get out and go do something else. A lot of cops retire after 25 years because we can draw a pension and then go do something else. A lot of cops do it, for a lot of different reasons, retire for a lot of different reasons. Some because, it's just pretty stressful, or can be a pretty stressful job. Me, it just mathematically made sense for me to go, had it not made mathematical sense for me to go, I probably would have stayed. Just my pension is just too good and it wasn't going to get any better for 4 years. So I decided to go ahead and get out and start another career to do for the next probably 12 to 15 years before I full on retire. But anyway, so that's why I retired. Anyway, so I wanted to get on here today and talk about a video that the Mother Trucker did. If you guys don't know him, he's a very popular YouTuber with a lot of followers, and he reports on a lot of trucking related incidents and news and all that. In fact, he was one of the very first channels that I started watching to get trucking advice. He was very helpful because when I retired, I wanted to start my own company, but the economy kind of tanked right after I retired, so it just didn't make sense for me to try and do that. So I'm still a company driver. But anyway, he had done a video about an accident that happened in Canada. It was a bus versus a semi-truck. And unfortunately, 15 people did pass away, is what he reported. My only research on this matter has been done just watching his video. Just the only research I have is just what he reported in his video. In part of his video, he showed somebody from the RCMP, that's the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. That's their state agency, basically. Well, I guess it'd be their country agency, but anyway, the spokesperson from the RCMP was giving a press release, and there were a lot of comments on this video about how it seems he was upset that the truck driver's not at fault, because what happened was it looks like the bus maybe turned left in front of the semi-truck, and the semi-truck collided with the bus. So just face value, just speaking on that part of it, it would appear to be the bus driver's fault, because he has to, well, I don't know if the bus driver is male or female, but the bus driver would have to yield to oncoming traffic to make a left turn. I mean, that's, driving 101. But for some reason, the bus driver made the left turn and the semi hit the bus driver. And unfortunately, it's reported that 15 people lost their lives. So anyway, so a lot of the comments, say that the person doing the press release or the investigator seems to be upset that it's not the truck driver's fault, and that that they're looking to blame the truck driver, and and it's just a lot of those comments. And And I just, me being me and knowing what I know and doing what I have done in the past, I know that there's more to this investigation than just somebody turned left in front of somebody, especially in today's society, with all the technology and the computers and everything like that we have. There's going to be tons of things that really should be looked at. And if somebody came to me and said, hey, we got this accident, we want you to investigate it, because realistically that is something that I could have done back in my day. It would actually be a reconstruction, our accident reconstructionists would have actually investigated, but I've assisted them on major accidents before. But things that would be looked at, because there are some things that could raise the culpability of the truck driver. And there are some things that, that if the truck driver was doing or not doing, could be bad for that person. Okay. It is what it is. And I would almost bet there would be truck drivers giving their expert opinion had they had a loved one on that bus. Probably even some of the truck drivers who are giving the negative comments regarding, they seem to be upset about not being able to blame the truck driver. And I don't mean expert as in expert, I mean a literal expert, because they've been doing the job. Once you do your job for a while, you do become more of an expert than the people that don't do your job. I know more about trucking now than I did 3 years ago. And it's just what it is. So I bet there would be truckers giving their expert advice on what to look for on the semi-truck, what to look for on the driver. They'd be looking at, was he licensed to haul what he was hauling? Was he overweight? The truck, I guess, overweight. Did he have the correct permits? Were his e-logs in order? If he was running paper logs, were they in order? Was he speeding? Because they're going to be able to tell all of that. And what I can tell you guys, and I'll just break some of those down individually. And let's start off with speeding, because I've seen this before, where a vehicle will turn left in front of another vehicle and an accident occur. Well, the problem is the vehicle that gets turned in front of is speeding, and had they not been speeding, the accident wouldn't happen. Or might not have happened, I guess. Because when you're traveling in your vehicle, you're basically, and it's a little bit different, but I always used 1.5 just as an easy, I can do it in my head type math, because it's going to be very close to that. But basically, to figure out your feet per second, you take your speed and you multiply that by 1.5. So if the speed limit is, let's say, 30 miles an hour, and you're driving 30 miles an hour, so you're driving 45 feet per second. 1.5 times 30 is 45. Let's say you're doing 50 miles per hour. You're now doing 75 feet per second. And like I said, there's a little bit difference. I just used 1.5 just to do it in my head. Because I don't remember the exact formula. It's like 1.4 or 1.7 or 1.6, something like that. And but 1.5 just kind of makes it easier to do it in my head. So when you're speeding, you're closing that distance between you and the danger a lot faster. So if you weren't speeding, the accident might not have happened, or the accident might not have been as bad as it turned out to be. So those are the things that are going to be looked at, and whether you like it or not, that's, it's 100% legit to factor that in and consider it. Some other things you're going to be looking at is whether or not the truck should have even been on the road. If the driver is unlicensed, he shouldn't have been driving. If the truck is uninsured, shouldn't have been driving. If it's not registered properly, it shouldn't have been driving. If his e-logs are out of hours, like if his logs are messed up, like he ran out his hours and he was driving in violation, then that's going to be considered, because he shouldn't have been on the road. Some things they're also going to look at is, I'm sure that driver probably has dash cams. Most semis do. And I love dash cams, you know, I really do, because it's really going to tell a story. And I love them as an investigator, and I love them as a driver, you know, because it is going to tell a story. And if that driver is, I mean, let's just say, you know, the driver's dash cam shows the bus pull in front of them and there's an immediate impact, then yeah, you know, it's pretty cut and dry. But if that bus pulls in front of them and the driver traveled for 3 to 5 seconds before the impact and there was no braking or deviation from, you know, the swerving or anything like that, then that's going to be something that's going to come up in the investigation as far as wanting to know, why didn't you brake? You know, the average person, it takes right around 1 second to perceive and react to a dangerous situation or a threat or something along those lines. It's roughly a second. So they're going to be answering that question. You know, they're going to look at his phone and see if he was on his phone, because that would be something that I would want to look at if I saw there was no reaction from him because the accident wasn't immediate. You know, there was some time and distance traveled before he collided with the bus, and those are some of the things that could raise his culpability. And to be honest with you, yeah, those are some things that, I mean, bottom line is the bus driver did pull out in front of him, but there's all kinds of things that can go wrong when the driver's in that would raise his culpability and possibly even make him more at fault than the person turning in left in front of him. Because if you're speeding fast enough, you know, if you go to turn left in front of somebody and you look at them and, you know, you judge that distance and you're saying, okay, I have plenty of time to make that left turn. But what you don't recognize is that person is speeding, and you turn left in front of them and that person hits you as you turn left in front of them. Yeah, I mean, there's got to be some culpability there for the speeding, you know. I mean, it is what it is, because not everybody's going to be able to look at a car and say, hey, this speed zone is 30 miles an hour, but it looks like that car's doing 50. And, you know, and you may have plenty of time to turn in front of somebody doing 30, but you may not have time at all to turn in front of somebody who's doing 50. So, yeah, it is what it is. There's going to be so many things that's going to be looked at. And like I said, I'm willing to bet that a lot of drivers would be giving their expert opinion on what to look for and be angry if it wasn't looked for. I know I would be. You know, I know if you know, somebody I knew was involved in an accident like that where they turned left in front of somebody and it ended tragically like that, I would be asking, you know, I'd want to watch the dash cam video and ask, and my questions would be, you know, well, this driver drove for 3 seconds, 5 seconds with zero reaction. What was going on in his cab that he had no reaction? You know, this driver, you know, did we check his e-logs? Did we check his speed? Did we do things like that? Because there are lots of factors on that driver's side that can contribute to that accident. And if he shouldn't have been on the road in the first place, and I'm not saying any of that, I'm not saying that any of that happened. I'm just saying this is what I would be looking for, okay? For all I know, and for all anybody knows, the driver's 100% good. And it's just a tragic accident where the bus driver pulled out in front of him. You know, so it is what it is. But anyway, so that's my video for the day. I think I'm going to go ahead and get off here. And if you guys ever want to give me any topics that you want to talk about, feel free. You know, you got any comments you want to make them. You know, let's start up a conversation. You know, I'm willing to give my advice on anything. And what I can tell you is about me, just because somebody was a cop doesn't mean I'm going to automatically support them because I was. You know, so, you know, I definitely do try to give my honest opinion on everything, that's for sure. And if I can't, I tell people, you know, I can't or I don't want to, you know, because sometimes you just got to let things play out. So, but anyway, y'all have a good day. Until next time.